This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Lee, thanks so much for being with us tonight. So what we're going to do is I'll go over some of the logistics for the interview process this evening. So what we're doing is we pick numbers to go to that order of the questions that will go out from the commissioners. And each commissioner will have the opportunity to ask you a question and you give an answer, and that question and answer is a 5-minute time period. So when we reach that 5-minute time period, Renee will let us know because we'll have to stop and go to the next commissioner for their question. We'll do that 2 times. That'll allow for 40 minutes. And then at the last 5 minutes, we'll do that. Do the board to ask us any questions that you can. Okay? Awesome. So I was the lucky winner today with number 1, and I get to ask you the very first question. And my question to you is, so we talked, in the letter, in the letter that you provided, we talk about improvements needed. I want to know what you think is the most wonderful or unique quality of South Whitehall Township and why.
I think diversity. Diversity of not only great neighborhoods, but good businesses, a great Thorny Park, which is in South Whitehall Township, our open space that we have. We have format trucks with transit. We have a lot of things in South Whitehall Park system. I mean, every neighborhood has a basic playground where kids can play in it. We have big parks down Jordan Street. So we have all those things. And it's just, even though we're close to Allentown, that part of Houston, it's its own little community to the extent where it's away from those things. Yes, I hear 22 every day. As this commissioner said, I hear every open Monday, you hear 22, but it just doesn't bother me for a while. It's the ability for you in South Whitehall Township to really get any place, anywhere in the valley or west of the valley, in a relatively easy time, and it's centrally located. It's just that we have such a great place that, we can go anywhere we want to and really show us what.
Absolutely. Great. So, what do you understand to be the role and the purpose of a commissioner, and why would you like to be one?
Well, I actually downloaded the commissioner's handbook.
Very nice.
So I heard that. Something that you see over should say.
It's easy.
It is easy. Yeah. But the role of commissioners is to, I believe, is to understand an issue or a problem or something that's proposed to the township. Understand what that is. Understand the ramifications of that problem or issue or whatever it may be, and make a logical judgment about it that is not only for the safety of the township, but what in the future is what's going to happen with that decision. It also has to play a part in if it's a development or if it's a proposal, does that proposal meet within the regulations and ordinances of the township? So those things all have to be weighed out and understood that in the decision that's being made. It's also a person that has to, I believe, promote the township, communicate with people, understand people, be there for people to ask questions, give them the proper direction that they need to go to understand why or who they have to talk to about certain things, because the commission's not going to have every answer to both. So you have to be able to find out the answer, or at least tell them that you will get the answer or get to the right person. I mean, you also have to work with the township with Brad and with the staff. They work with you, and probably they're putting the commissioner's handbook in there to support the staff. And they are the ones that do the day-to-day work, and you help support the staff. And you know, it's kind of a give and take. You give to them, and they give to you, because you're going to have questions you can't answer, because you don't know all the ordinances and regulations of the township. So, why do I want to do this? I've watched for good solid year of township meetings, both planning and working with communities. Become interested and to have somewhat of an understanding of this, and I would like to help. I've been able to, over the past, I think, a sense of why, understand that what's going on. But I think I can contribute ways that I can deal with problems every day. Deal with why didn't this work? Why didn't this work? Fix this broke, whatever. So I believe in person to manage and to take all things in, listen to all those things, and come up with solutions that fit for everything. So in that respect, I think I want to take those talents that I have and put them to the township.
All right. I'm sorry. Thank you. Commissioner Wall?
Okay. I'm going to refer to the things you included in your report, which made a lot of sense to me. So you indicated you have the ability to listen, pertinent questions, which enables you to make objective, informed decisions. So please explain how you would make decisions as commissioner, highlighting your independent thinking and objectivity. And if you want to give an example, you know, of something that's going on in the township, please do so.
Well, I look at, there's a lot of complicated issues we deal with, whether it's development, whether it's ordinance, or whether it's, you know, for example, the garden issue that you dealt with. That, you know, we talk about and talk about the garden. You know, ordinance, right, exactly. And there's a lot of things that have to go into making a decision about this. Have to think about, you know, we're not all engineers, we're zoning people, we don't have all the information, but we have to ask the question to a number of different people, whether they be, you know, Greg Adams, or whether it's Dave, or whether it's, you know, Bill Sater, or whoever it may be, Renee, whoever it might be, to make an informed decision, because not every decision, you can't base all your decisions on those. If you did that, you're not being fair to people who are involved in the process. So you have to make sure that you dot all your I's and cross all your T's. And yes, your opinion plugs into it, but there's sometimes where your opinion and your emotion about it may not be relevant to the decision you make.
Okay, thank you. Notice this is maybe the next thing you wrote, so it's very close. You said you have clear rights, success, critical thinker, problem solver, decision maker, ability assessment to align. Customize solutions with your client needs. So, can you please give an example that illustrates how you would apply this capability with South Whitehall Township residents as your clients?
Okay, I'm not going to remember all that. So,
how do you use your skills to serve the best?
okay. Again, you have to listen to people. You have to listen to people to what they're saying. When you listen to people, you have to also then ask questions. because sometimes what they're telling you is not really, what they're trying to say. You have to ask questions, and then once you ask the questions, you listen to what they say. You have to go find out the information. And I would, it's kind of, you've got to think about what the ramifications, again, you have to think about what the ramifications are of the decision and how to find out information. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question the right way, but, you have to listen. And okay, if you don't listen to people, you're not going to understand what they're saying. So you have to listen to everybody. You have to listen to developers, you have to listen to businesses, you have to listen to citizens, you have to listen to zoning, planning. You have to take all that information and disseminate it and make a decision about it. Again, if you're trying to, depending on what the issue is, the problem is, then the emotions can't sometimes anything. You've got to make an educated decision about that. That's all I kind of go down.
Okay. Am I okay with it? Go ahead. Okay. So, you said, I'll stop there.
I think, good, so, thank you for coming today. So I definitely agree with you that making decisions, emotional skills, absolutely right to in the briefly letter that you sent, in the letter you mentioned something about securing more open space. How would you go about securing open space where land is all around you?
Well, there's a couple of things that I think that we could do. First of all, I think we could, I don't have a good understanding of one of the things about the credits that are issued to developers in terms of if they're doing so much of land development, they have to give some credits back to the taxes in terms of money, which that money then goes for building space, if I understand that correctly. Or play that. So that's one thing I think that should favor, it doesn't favor more the township than, I really, personally, I don't like that we take land and if there's an office building that's empty someplace, I wish we would take that office building and repurpose it instead of building a new building on their land. We should have something placed by the purpose. But I think we could do, I'd like to see something where we could possibly make a teaching farm or something that we could have school students come to the township, and maybe have a working farm, a teaching farm, plus the kids come and use it, understand it, it's something to do. But to your point, it's happy to buy things from people that you don't have property. I know there's a lot of land out there that's private that I would try to say the township would go after privately and that help out individuals. Those corporations, various corporations, general corporations, that's land, a lot of land. But it would be nice if we could purchase that land or somehow get farmland preservation in the township. I'd like to see, I don't believe we have the farmland preservation. Yes, we could have some land in the township.
I believe farmland preservation, exists on the city level.
It does, yes.
Any farmer that wants to sell the development, so clearly, the ones to survive.
I do like that in mind. I do like Mr. Williams, Mr. Walls, maybe on the possibly past. The way we wanted to purchase more land, I think that's something that the township would
anything else? Hi, thank you for being here tonight. I know that you attended a few of one of our work calls, and even prior to that, I remember having a session. But I'm just curious as a citizen, if you were to, you chose to fill this vacancy, how would you like to see us, for other ways to involve more residents in their own local government and the decision-making process? That we do?
I think information is best done, I think the website should be done to the town. Upgrades, the building, it's great. I think that people will become, I think the citizens don't understand, they see things, but they don't really see things. I think there's a disconnect in today's society because not everybody is not everybody. Okay? Not everybody gets the parking price. So there's this disconnect where before people read the paper every day, you know, read the paper, look at it, see what's going on, see what's happening, see what's going on. And they don't. They're in the, not a bubble, but they're in this vast wasteland. It's not information, so it's something on the internet, but not even understanding it. The ability for us to notify people, and you know, you guys are working on, notify people further out in terms of development of those kinds of things, which is great. But I think we should, I think we have a quarterly newsletter that goes out. But I almost think we should almost have some type of email notification to citizens, maybe mail to citizens. Here's tell them what each what the zoning board does, what the planning commission does, what the staff does, what those the other boards so safety does, and try to get them involved. Now, how invite them to an open house meeting or something like that. Invite, you know, say this is what, and people will go door to door or something like that. Say, you know, hey, this is South Whitehall. We want you to be part of it. This is your community. You live here. We want you to have a say in this. Because, you know, they can say, I don't care. And that's fine. That's what they want to say. But some people do care. They have an opinion. Now, we can have an open forum where people come up on the website and say, you know, what's this? If you want something there, tell us what's the deal. Tell us how you feel about it. And here's how you can help change those things. Here's how you can be part of it.
I reviewed your career history, and I wanted to ask if I see a common theme of working with the work that you described and development, very hands-on. But I'm curious if you could pick one thing that would be your greatest accomplishment in your career, and how would that, or how might have that carry you to take on the commission if there's something you can come up
Flagg is software consultant. We sold software to users. We put the product in the street. We brought it in the United States. Nobody knew that. My territory was the United States, Canada, and Britain. So, it wasn't small. And so I promoted the product, but nobody knew about it. I talked to the users and get them to accept scoop this call. As a valid system, put the newspaper in. This is when newspapers were big. This is when newspapers are expected to be and so I would take that and get that to the point where we could actually sell it to people. So it was involved. We didn't say we newspapers is valuable. Moving Europe out, not getting states. Actually flying people over Europe, flooding city systems like that, negotiating, you know, configuring systems, negotiating with everything that we have to installing the system and making sure the system works. I also sold first one company to sell food system with advertising for track. So you pick one of the different things. What I'm trying to get, you kind of have to do everything. You kind of have to be a salesperson, you have to be a technical person, you have to be able to listen, you have to ask questions, you have to find out what's wrong, what's slow, all kinds of things. So I think in terms of that, it will help. Those experiences will help. It's help the family to get to this point in my life.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you know, describe yourself as analytical, you can control, and you together, try to.
Leaving myself out, spread it.
And I want to tell you that. So first of all, I love your thought about when you talk about communication and different ways to do that. So you know that the township is, you know, we've already talked about opportunities to do like welcome packages and things for new residents. So I love that you're thinking about that too. If you were fortunate enough to be appointed and take on the role of commissioner, even though it's for a short amount of time, it's a 7-month period, what would you like to see as your legacy that you would leave behind?
My legacy is already stepped son, so I won't say the most important legacy. But I would like to say that he was a fair and honest commissioner that made the right decisions at the right reasons, worked well with everyone, and improved not only the BOC, but also South Whitehall.
So, in a lot of our meetings, in a lot of media and throughout, we hear the word transparency a lot. What is your understanding and feeling on the word transparency? What does it mean to you?
I think transparency is to some extent overused. I think you have to be honest with people. You have to, and people have to be honest with you. And if they're not honest with you, that's their decision, not your decision. I think that you have to be transparent to the extent that everybody should know what's going on. That nothing should be left. If somebody has a question, you answer the question. If somebody has, if somebody has something they want to say, they can say it. Be transparent. But there's things that, not everybody is going to know how things are. Seriously, you can't make a document say everything. That's a bad example, but you make a document say, well, how do you make that document? Well, that's not how you do it. Well, you don't think. And you can't. That's a bad example, but if you're talking about something that has to be transparent, if you discuss something ahead of time, and I'll use the interview process as a point. Commissioner Wall had one rule with the interview process, and I think that was what we should have done when we talked about the interview process. But during the meeting, you talk about the interview process, and Commissioner Wall was responsible for a list of things that you wanted to talk about. And that was great. It was great information. But I felt personally that if you could have done that before the meeting, then come out and propose it what we discussed, here's how we're changing, or possibly changing the interview process. So that the public would know, but the groundwork was done before the meeting. So that's just one example. It doesn't have to be that unfair. Okay, it doesn't have to be, everything working behind the scenes don't have to be done in terms of, you do the work behind the scenes, but then only things to be done in the meeting. And it's related to that kind of time meeting. All public should know what's going on. Know informed of what's going on and how things are done. So I don't know if that answers the question or not, but it's,
Thank you. Mr. Wall?
All right, Committee. You have written you would like South Whitehall Township board busy processes to be followed by developers as part of the development review process. Could you please give some examples of things you've seen where you come to developers?
sure. I'll say one, the development of Broadway and Broadway and County Road that spring with development fairly. They want to do that. If I remember correctly, the distance between the driveway outside and the left-hand turn was not even close to being consistent. I thought that was unsafe. I think Township should have stuck to its guns and said, no, we're not changing it. It should be right in front of it. I know there was every possibility of getting out of there. We was talking about this over the roads going back into the license dealership, back to development. But I think that was a situation personally where I would say no, that couldn't be allowed. There's the planning commission talked about the farm and cul-de-sac, and that was not the deal. Something to come back. They changed the policy. And I think those are the things that developers. There are some things that are have impressed me. Said there's every piece of land is different. I understand every piece of land is different. But the developer has a piece of land that they're giving. And this is why I want that. They're giving every piece of land one to. They also have rules and regulations of the township. Now, to me, in my mind, they'll say, okay, here's the rules and regulations of the township. I'll make this development. So I'm going to make this development equal to the rules and regulations of the township. I think that's a responsibility to develop and do this. Now, yes, there are certain situations that they may not be able to do what they want to do, but they knew what the rules and regulations were when they started putting pen to paper to sign something. So I feel that developers and the follow all the rules and regulations will be closer to this time. The neighbors just do whatever they want.
Okay, thank you. Switching gears a little bit, you have the Pennsylvania statutory requirement that financial audits will be advantage. We've got years of financial audits. What's your thought about this? About the compliance with the law, view of the audits, and what would you do to make sure they're done on time?
Well, I don't, first of all, I'll just say this, I think the audit should be done, by the state. But I'll preface it, I'll say that we don't know all the behind the scenes working with that. So I think we need to say why they weren't done.
Yeah, no, I
It's
wasn't
wrong
asking.
because I said one, I can't speak to that, so I don't know. If that's what the state requires, I think that's what we should do. Reasons they weren't done, I can't know what here for the BOC reasons, but I can't speak to saying this is, to speak to that extent. I don't know if that's not, so if I would say something, it would be no problem to say.
That's fair. How much time are we
Just 1 second.
All right. I think you know enough about overlay districts from attending the meetings. They went in and we have 4 large developments. We got a lot of land in the township. We're going to update the zoning code. What do you think of putting additional overlay districts in the township?
Personally think, the only thing we have is farm.
Okay. Thank you.
The reason I say that is because I think people are, and again, as one commissioner said, this meeting was, they never thought about it. They never thought about it at all. And I think if we, as a township, leave something open to interpretation, that could be, I won't say, it could be left for open to interpretation by anyone, that would be found not to do that. Fine, but,
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll start with we have a COVID-19 grant that's coming up on the first, second, and on my question would be, where do you think we could be distributed? More businesses, people who going to some part-time, and then to another way, maybe organization centers. What do you think?
well, there's all good things, for the others. I guess, without knowing, is that only earmarked in the township, you told them they want to use it, so it is. I mean, that would determine how distributed if it's only used for certain things, then it's only used for certain things. But without knowing more about it, I don't know how to answer that question. You know, $2 million is something for, township, and then how we can use that fund.
To be honest, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure the feedback that you're getting.
So that's kind of like the question.
Does that make sense? So I'll go back to your comments about waivers, variances, and stuff. You have the developers and plan. Yes, the book is good. The book is necessary. But clearly, any developer that, and every development that has a reasonable development that exists that goes 100% of the right. But variances and waivers not always have something bad. Sometimes those waivers are for the good purpose. It's just because it's something that's not important. Right? So, having said that, in particular, let's go back to new farm. What do you think the owner of that land, not the township, but the owner of that land, should have done with it? Well, bear in mind, that somebody always has a substantial amount of money.
Right. There's I hear this, and I hear both sides of this. One of the things, when I grew up in 1,200 square foot home, barely 4 acre lot, or less than that. And you have a pretty good garden, with some more than a garden. My son, and they're in the corners, okay? And they're in the corners. I feel that, personally, that when you pay for rent, it's almost like throwing money out the window. because you're getting nothing, you're getting a place to live, you're getting things, really you're pouring money out. But for our kids to go buy something in a house, is at this point in time, really unaffordable. They can't do it. So I'd like to see, and I hear mixed things, I've heard during the comp plan where we had our planning commissions on, but we need houses like that in the town. I would like to see us think about development for those types of houses built for, there's an entry level house, it seems like you go from apartment to a mansion in this area, and it's not, I mean, yes, we have townhouses, but some of those are rented in our body. I'd like to see where we actually have something where the youth of this country have a small enough house built in a housing shortage there is one now. But because the other thing is, there's another side of the renters. I'm not bashing renters at all. Sometimes we have to rent, and people like living there, and that's perfectly fine. But also they don't buy back into the community. So if I have a house with some land, I have to buy a Walmart, you buy a snowball, you buy a Solt. So stores like Albright Hardwood benefit from that. Where for a renter, they might buy nails and things to put up on their wall, but they're not buying successful things, helping the community in that stuff. So there's also an economics behind that too. But I believe it's not be built, it's not possible building towns. So, as a real you would know more than I do. So,
Well, I definitely also, however, the rental seems to be like I would say maybe the newer generations, but when actually home ownership is not a lot of the generation, like say, 40s, one thing I would agree with you and somewhat disagree with you is the tenants either. They may not contribute to our others, but certainly contribute to restaurant, other retail,
but homeowners would also contribute to this.
correct. Okay, homeownership is
Right. Correct. Yeah. No, I agree. Homeowners is correct.
and lastly, it's to let you know that unfortunately, the fact that the affordability started and started, it is generated by a lot of people, a lot of time that are coming to our area.
Yes. Yes.
It's really running and it's not.
No.
And it's again, well,
Well, especially because Pennsylvania doesn't have housing time, things like that. For 19 people trying to have a church with.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit to what you said earlier about regards to regardless abandoned buildings or users. I think that's actually a great idea. Thought a lot about that myself because we do have some of those places in the township. So do you have any ideas or any thoughts or ways that we could, as a township, help to attract businesses to come in and repurpose buildings?
I'd like to see, instead of an office building, before, I think, my thinking about it, before a developer comes, people come and stop off and give me a point. Before that happens, when that happens, it's moving township to each township. Because we have these office buildings, this building department is one. We have these office buildings that are vacant have ones on Pond Road, they're always been filled. So either have that person be, and we work with them to get their purpose that they want to go for here. Or is there a way we can take land that's already been developed for something else, build it on that land that's already developed? And if they do that, maybe we give them a tax credit. Maybe we give them, some incentives. Maybe we wait. If they're going to do that, so, okay, well, we're going to build a office building, but now a lot of us build a big so maybe we'll waive their fees to develop that. Maybe we'll waive those fees because you're going to help repurpose an area that is now white or something. Same with retail. We don't need more extent. We don't need more retail. Yes, new buildings. If you look at the way the malls are gone, you have Whitehall Mall, you had South Tacoma, Mountain Park, Airport Shopping. You have all these things. If you watch what's happening, you see Whitehall malls closing for bankruptcy. We have our malls back then. South Tacoma, right? Why? The newest and greatest building, but everything to that is they all are in a for the most part. They're just, we have to look at the terms and bring some good things happening. We go down slowly until we make it die faster. Not all harm. Our big parties, or you know, close. Macy's, I was saying that. So, to build more retail on their land, and we have places like the Kmart shopping center that's open, why do that? Have them build where it's already being done. It doesn't, to me, it just doesn't accept. But that's why, those are things, those are the ways that I would try to incentivize them to build. We can use that because we can use that for a certain time, whatever makes financially sense for both people. Again, it has to be, we can take, we're helping with this land, we're going to help you with, with this. So, if they're around, you can do something back.
I know that you attended a lot of our meetings just as a citizen. Do you have any other involvement with the township or hearing or food as well?
I also saw a couple of them.
Okay.
I've been to the scout with it for my son was 6, so about 19 years. The local club master and Boy Scout master, and health committee member. So that's what my volunteer has been. I've also done district, special district-wide staff food, those types of things. Especially district chairman for that for 2 years. Golf tournaments for our schools and those things. So that's what my volunteer.
And just, and I realize that you also applied for the pension. So you have,
Yes.
in the past, 1 or 2 volunteers.
Yes. It's often done for.
And then somebody said, no, we don't have to do it. Thank you. Thank you so much for this speaking. And so this is the last couple of minutes here, and we give you the opportunity to ask any questions.
First of all, thank you for that. Thank you for the opportunity. I really don't have any questions. I mean, what type of, I know I talked to Mr. Collins, Mr. Wall, I haven't had any contact. I see you can figure out the chapter, I don't know where this all that, but I mean, talk about the time you guys made for the township, what it's like, what your life is like being commissioner.
I guess I'll start since I've been a commissioner for longer. So it is a time commitment, and it's a great time commitment. It's very fun. think that you go right into what you believe in, what you're doing all the time. So, you know, obviously we have two scheduled meetings, a week or a month rather. And, in between those, we also, different responsibilities on different, volunteer boards and commissions, whether it be finance or, you know, energy committee or fire or gas or whatever, any of those. So we support those committees. And then, you know, it's what you want it to be. It's really want to give back to the community. So, you know, it can be a fun time, it can be just the time that you require to do. That's really up to the individual. You know, I spent a large portion of all of my time as a commissioner. I try to do as much as I can, and I enjoy it. It's fun. I love it. So it's easy. So it's really up to the individual, to be honest with you. It is. Yeah, no problem. I'll jump in. We're always in summary, it's been a little over a year for me. It's certainly in the volunteer position. Public meetings. But behind the scenes, I'm at home. I see it right out of the commission handbook. I think a lot like you. I've done the same thing. And I decided to spend my time and what I can and so can our advisory board meetings. It helps me get a sense of the meeting and the whole responsibility. But it's totally my choice. So it depends on how much time you have available to invest beyond the meeting. It's pretty much enough to know your follow up and things.
So I'm a numbers guy, so it's 20-25% of my time on average. But there's times when it's full time, like the days we sit in the BOC meeting. But my other example is that I started January 2020 and then went on hold March 2020. But during that 2 month period, I felt I wanted to get educated in order to be able to do the job. And I spent full time on that, practically a full time job. And trying to bring something forward that would end up.
For me, it seemed very satisfying because I feel like the community has taken a long time. And I just feel that I contributed as much as I can myself.
And then, we thank you so much for being with us today. And we will be in touch with you guys.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right. Mr. Tom John, it's really to see you this evening. Nice to see you. I just want to go over some of the logistics or interview. So what we've done is just pick numbers, and that's going to become the order of questions that are going to be asking this evening. So what we do is each commissioner will have 5 minutes. They'll ask their question and allow you to give your response. And keep that within a 5-minute time frame. So when they let us know when we get to that 5 minutes over, then we'll move to the next commissioner. They'll ask their question. So this will allow us to go through 2 sets of questions for each commissioner. And then the last couple minutes of the interview, we'll open that up for you to ask any questions to us. So without further ado, Commissioner Kelly is number 1 speaker. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you submitting your resume and letter of interest for it. I want to start out by I knew that you were a practitioner. I didn't realize it was for 2 years. So I guess my first question for you would be, obviously over those years, you gained a lot of insight and knowledge from your perspective. And I'm just curious if you had a few examples, 1 or 2 things that you learned then that you would want to bring back, or what could you contribute at this point with your knowledge from having served for you?
Yeah, when I first came on, 4 years work was long. $5 a month. $1,000. We used to have a committee, probably remember correctly, 4 years ago, I'm wrong. We had 2 commissioners on the committee, which depending on whatever committee it might be. So we get, one sometime. I think that was the best thing that we did. We did have some problems last time. We had to hire an outside consultant company because the building was like 1.5. That side didn't talk to this side. It was a little bit of a nightmare. We only had a big turnover with the township manager and another person.
So, I'm sorry, the consulting to help employees?
Yeah.
Okay. And did you find that?
Matter of fact, we had meetings with the employees. John Hammer was the township manager at that time, if I remember correctly. We had one just asking with fix it right, whatever, and then just,
So would you say that the, bringing in a consultant was helpful to?
it was very helpful. To get the township that work.
To have an outside person. Okay, thank you. Again, from your letter, I'm reading that you began your own business in South Whitehall in 1994, so thank you for investing in business in our township for all these years. I would ask, as a business owner, what type of things, if you were to be given this position, certainly with COVID, we've got a lot of challenges. Is there anything that you could share with us that might help businesses in general, or specifically if you can ideas of a way that we as a township could help?
Well, I used to speak for, we had on starting the business with that. As far as having income for a year, having enough in the bank account to go for a year without any money. Small businesses are very tough. Very tough. We get handled with the storm free taxes and all that. Other than that,
From the township today. Okay.
I mean, I was in the construction business, and I had a tough time, to be honest with you, with stuff like that. With the engineering, township management. And then we had a scandal with the money being stolen.
So, and our when we first came to your construction business, so do you have a sense whether you do notice differences between building a project in our township as opposed to maybe some of our neighboring townships? Were there things that we could do, maybe that we learned outside of our boundaries that
Yeah, we had, I mean, other towns are very easy to work with. So, we had in-house inspectors that. You used to be able to call, get a question and get back to you in reasonable time. Other townships are the same way. You can go in, you can get an answer very quick, because, time is money. So, I don't know right now in South Whitehall if you use Chico for commercial and Barry Light for residential. People have never had problems with Barry Light and
can I help you on time? Oh, sorry. I'm finished. I don't want to do the question. Yeah. Oh, right. I'm two, right? Yeah. Okay. To come, this is Thea again. My question to you is this. This should be an easy question because you were a commissioner and I keep talking to it. What do you understand is your role and responsibility as a commissioner?
it's to govern the body of the township, not really deal with everyday business going on. That's being controlled by the managers or department heads. And telling her to do that. You have a question, go to the department. Come to the commissioners or the business or whatever you want. Other than that.
So, having been a commissioner and knowing, all the different work that's involved in doing that role, how important do you think being visionary as far as, the responsibility for commissioner?
As far as responsibility, we got to get the, each commissioner has to work together. Every commissioner. And it seems like a lot to be transparent. Keep them transparent. Seems to be enough for it. And we just come together and work together. Doesn't matter if it's Democrat or the council would form never meet the commission.
What about visionary? That's the transparency. How do you find being a visionary? Is that whole important to you?
I'm here to represent. I'm here to represent the public. I'm not worried about losing myself or anything like that.
No, I'm talking vision for the future.
Oh, for the future. We gotta control a little bit development up north, up on the north of what's that over there? I think what we gotta do there. I don't know if there's any grant money out there or not. But right now, most of the there's nothing, there's no work in the sewer. We got all that ground.
So are you suggesting with infrastructure, it should be developed?
It should be, if it's developed right, the right way, yeah. It's developed the right way. There's the right way and the wrong way. I know it's a comprehensive plan. I don't even know, does he touch that part of the story up there? North of
The comprehensive plan includes the entire township.
I'm doing the entire township.
The plan covers the entire township.
Do we have the right guy for this? Commonwealth guy.
We have multiple funds working on the comprehensive plan. Comprehensive deal.
I know that Tom's doing work for Bronson. He was recommended by TikTok.
He is actually a very small role in it.
I think I was looking at that. He's looking for the Bronson.
Sorry. Okay, thank you, Tom. So, Commissioner Wall? Oh, wait, I'm out of order. Commissioner Stecker.
That's okay.
Sorry about that, Mike.
So Tom, thank you very much for coming tonight. Thank you again for servicing and giving your time for 8 years to the township. The desire to do even more. That is really very nice. Very good. Totally different question in regards to we have experienced quite a bit of hardship in the last year plus because of COVID-19. Luckily, lately we are about to get a grant for the amount of a little bit over $2 million to distribute to the township. My question to you is, regardless of maybe the restrictions that are attached to it, how would you see the distribution of those funds? Business, to individuals who had hardship, to
Where is the big hardship? Who's the big hardship?
I'm sorry,
Who is the hardship?
Well, the ones that,
I mean,
the ones that couldn't work, they had a financial,
the businesses could have got money from the government if they applied for it, like through grants and through the government
some,
program. Some small businesses didn't do it, they decided not to do it, why, I don't know. How about as far as people out there, like, what they're saying, you can't pay like water bills and stuff like that?
yeah, some haven't worked for over a year, they have no income. Some of them are,
I really have to look at it and see who's on that list. That really needs it. He may need it more than she. He might have children in school and you have to work at home. Or you lost your job completely.
but you would look into those hardships in order to see if some of them,
I would automatically say, okay.
on a case-to-case basis.
Take the case basis, I will automatically say, okay. Mom cost, where you're gonna get X number of dollars. You gotta look at it case by case.
So we had some funds that were distributed, I believe $115,000 was given, made available by the township for small businesses, and I'm not sure how much people spent on it. Did we use it all? No, I don't think so. We did not use it all. So
I think the hair salon, water shop stuff is harder than the restaurant.
yeah, so yes, you're right. There is funds that are coming in from the on a state level, but I think I guess my question on a township level, not state, maybe not making it as complicated as the state does to give you a penny, but case by case. Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Wolf?
Okay. I have some questions that consider time in office from 2009 to 2017. So I'd like to look backward. The one thing I'm always in favor of is looking backward, doing some lessons learned, and saying, what have we learned? How can we make some improvements in the future? So the first thing, while you're in office, we had the embezzlement. Then we had all the issues with completing audits. And we have currently the 10 years outstanding audit. Towards the back end of your terms, the first audit in 2012 was, at the time, was 70 yearly complete. What, from your role as a commissioner then, what did you do to try to get those audits done? And now that we're still in a situation where we still need to get them done, how do we apply what we learned to what we should be doing?
Well, that went back to Bucknell and Mississippi. County, I think, at that time. And I think we had two petitions on the finance committee. I think it was one block and then gone. And the city kept saying, we're going to have this and this done this year. But we didn't get anything. And I think we're at a point now, you're not going to get anything. We're just going to have to move on to this year on.
Right. So now we have a new auditor. And keep in mind about like the council's working hard and is making progress for sure. But anything you learned that you might apply?
Well, I don't know how the 10 years, how much we picked up on the 10 years. I don't know if it was the council manager at that time. 10 years is a long time. I can see a year or two. This 10 years, not have answers from the city and the county of why. Do we ever get answers why they didn't do it?
I believe there are some answers, yeah. We've had some reviews and
Was it wrong to do that?
I want to share that. I'll move on. So another council goal would be to preserve farmland. And we don't have any agricultural farmland preserved. What occurred while you were in office? Was that ever a conversation? Was there an attempt to preserve farmland? What advice would you give?
There was an attempt, and there was, I was involved, something late in the area, and preserving farm up there. It's a very difficult process. I was contemplating people over there and Penn State over there and Dorney Park. What I suggest we do is, we know who the big ones are on the township. We got to contact them. I think we need a committee person to start that up and get that rolling. I think we do have one person in on that one. I think the horse farm on that.
Oh, yeah, we have the veto for you down. That's why she's referred to. Okay. Am I on time?
In development, we got, like I said, if we're giving the development, I think I got something. You just can't. He doesn't want sidewalk on one side of the street. What do we do in return for that? Because I remember Tom, he was going to be the proposal that time. He wants to do like a city entrance way or something like that, number, courtyard with commercial and apartment stuff across the commercial end. We had a proposal on that.
I think you just a good entrance to the consequences.
And then I know one time you and I were on the committee for the boss, and so she went to for a while and like that. So we're back, house one, you can wall it out of it. Her and her brother, yeah. Matter of fact, I just put stuff a little last year.
Oh,
Yeah, it was, I think it was Carlisle, I can't go to one. They had a place that they wanted to do like that down there.
oh, different design ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all,
all part of the plan.
yeah, it's all part of the content. Which I thought was very good.
Thank you.
Well, since we're on topic of development, again, I'm going to refer back to your experience on the board. For 10 years. Obviously, we've seen some large development proposed here with the future renovation of the Parkview Hotel, Ridge Farm, on the level. So in your opinion, with your knowledge from the past, is there anything that you think we could have done differently as a township to enhance those communities, or we find a lot of the spot?
Yeah, well, it's tough. You can't really stop somebody from developing on the property. But at that time, it's put some restrictions on it. It's going to be that kind of houses, or that kind of apartments, and we need so much green space. And, we got to really look into it. Instead of just giving in.
Thank you. So the term that we're interviewing to fill for is just 7 months, and I know that seems short. And I have added thought. So is there anything that you feel, again, relying on that 10-year history, feel that you may look to accomplish in this remainder of the year? Sorry.
I think what we got to look at is what's going on throughout the township and whole. Why people are so upset with it, so with development, personnel. Did we send any surveys out on any to the public?
There's been a variety of surveys on the comp plan, which includes.
Well, besides the town plan, I just mean on the township and the whole. By the someone.
I'm not sure the township as a whole feels it.
Well, I'm not saying it's all,
So no, to answer your question, no. But that would be something you would.
I think, I looked at it before, I think it would be helpful. I see, they can, some input from the public.
So in the past, you would spend out surveys just to get public feedback
I
on the ones along the township.
don't remember what the last survey was. Forward my number, I don't remember we sent them out.
It was more of a survey of what people like in the township, parks, walkability, all the,
Yeah, I remember.
it was more revolving around the resources and things in the township, and then that was an internal survey. You've got obviously a very long career as well, being a small business owner. Was there anything in your experience as small business owner that was prepared you and as you're working through COVID and now obviously things are going to be very different and the restrictions are lifted and we get back to?
Well, I really look at the word of money. I'm very concerned, what you and I have on this plan, where I'm spending the money and how I'm spending it. I just don't want it to go up. We need that for that. I need to know why where the money's coming from.
Are you speaking as a commissioner?
As a commissioner and as a small business, I want to know where the money's going.
Certainly, we will be looking at budget summer, early fall.
Yeah, I think we should start budgeting for all that.
So that would be your recommendation to see what we're looking at.
Yeah, you just don't want to keep, you just can't keep going on and on. We have to start looking at it very much.
So, Tony, what would you see as the most important or unique quality of South Whitehall Township? Most
Unique thing?
important or unique? What do you find is the best quality of South Whitehall Township?
Well, I think the township is a great township. I think it's over 30 years.
But what about it makes it special to you?
It used to be the people, used to make it special. The residents, it was easy dealing with the township back then. They had a good police force, they had a great volunteer fire company. There was a strong in the area. We had all in our township. And everybody played a role.
So, Tom, I really, really like your idea of what I may call a be happy survey. That kind of, it might be a nice idea to survey the township and see if they're happy, not why
Not everybody's good. Not everybody's gonna like you, everybody's gonna like Brian, or, we all have our fault. They're all come together. They're all come together.
So in regards to Parkview and Ridge Farm, the Commissioner Kelly had mentioned a little bit earlier, you also mentioned that we need to put some restrictions to the developer, what to put there, and make sure that they have all the space.
Right.
But these restrictions, are generally speaking, they come through zoning. They give you the ability to construct so much units per acre, or otherwise, no matter how low. In the case of the Ridge Farms, there is, I believe, over 40 acres of open space. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong, but if I am, somebody correct me.
I don't know, but I think it's
I think it's about 40 acres of open space out of 100, and so that's a substantial amount of open space. And in part view, of course, we don't know what's going to happen yet. But do you feel that the process of the comprehensive zoning and the getting the public involved in it, the way it has been done thus far, is the right way to do it? Or would you have other recommendations?
You gotta have a public involvement. I think that, get their feedback. The developer, I don't know if the developer came in ahead of time and talked to what he wanted to do, or what, or you go right to zoning, or you go right to planning.
Good communication is definitely
Yeah,
something.
you gotta, come in and say, think about doing this. If you talk to them, look in their eyes one-on-one, I think you get a lot more respect out of the guy. For the person, and whoever the developer is.
I agree with that. Thank you.
Mr. Moore?
Okay, more lessons learned from the past. So, the last major zoning change was 2014, sort of in the middle of your term. And that's when the overlay districts were adopted, which applies to 4 large properties, and that amounted to 2,000 dwellings. What was your view about the overlay districts at the time? Were you in favor of them or not? And actually, more importantly, now that we see some of the results, with, I guess, 2 of the 4 developments being built out right now, would you be in favor of overlay districts going forward, or would you want to?
I don't really. Great question. I really have to sit and think about that.
Okay.
At the time, it sounded great, did a nice presentation and all that. I really have to sit and think about that.
When you said you made a presentation, were you referring to Thomas Smith? Okay.
And we all talk about it.
Did you envision that this would be the end result when that zoning ordinance was changed?
I didn't vision that.
So they're like more moderate?
Yeah.
Okay. So also sort of towards that end of your term, after many years of no tax increases, then there was the beginning of several years of tax increases. Again, looking forward, something occurred that resulted in a tax increase. Do you have any comment about what you learned there that might help us to avoid tax increases in the future?
Well, I think looking back, I think at one time it was a $12 million in reserve. And I think after all of that, it was state road, I think we've done $3 million into that, traffic lights and all that. If I'm not mistaken, something like that, I think that's we should have went back and tried to make, state and everybody. That was a big deal.
Was that due to some development?
No, I think that's what you do, traffic. School buses and traffic. Right? I guess it's development.
I guess that's because they're not state roads, that's why we.
Yeah, I don't even know how that got, Mr. Search had that before he started, and then we just got that.
Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Do you have any other recommendations on what zoning changes we should have going forward since that will be done within next year?
Well, we have the zoning now, all the land is very. Well, if there's any other places, you have to do.
Okay.
I know there was some spot going over in some problems, the only reason I asked was involved. Spot on it, I guess.
to spend some time with us this evening.
The only thing I got to say, I think we were anonymous.
Which there is some.
How come nobody, the other nine, how come none of the other nine, or think about them?
I can't answer that question, I'll be honest.
I'm used to that, they're not concerned about it. I just think they ran that in.
I can answer that, we have to ask them. I don't know.
Because I know if I come back on board, you know, the issues, I know the problem. For them, but
Did you have any other questions for us before we go for our interview today? No, we're done with our questions this evening. We kept that specific 5 minutes each for 2 sets of questions. What's the last bit for you? Well, thank you so much.
This conference will now be recorded.
So, Andy, if I may, for you, Andy.
please.
So Andy, tonight, the logistics of the meeting are, we have 45 minutes, we're going to stick for 45 minutes, and we've picked numbers of commissioners from the order of questions. Each commissioner will have 5 minutes, which will include your response in that 5 minutes to ask a question, get your response, and then we'll move to the next commissioner. That will allow us to do 2 sets of questions for you, and then leave the last 5 minutes to you to ask any questions you want. So, without further ado, Commissioner Sutton.
Hi, Andy, thank you for coming today.
You guys, how are you?
Appreciate you being here and your desire to participate in township affairs. That's always a good thing. I'll start with something that maybe some other same questions of the others in regards to COVID-19. We recently, we will very soon get some substantial amount of money for COVID-19 relief, and assuming there's no restrictions on it, do you feel that how do you feel it should be distributed in terms of to independent people, businesses, immunization? What do you think would be the best way of utilizing those funds?
I think anytime the township is afforded financial support, they have to look and see how best to help the township achieve its goals and to support the residents and the businesses that exist. So without knowing exactly what the stipend or allocation might represent, I would think first understanding what individuals or businesses come to the township and look for support or sponsorship during these periods of time, and what they potentially could use to help kickstart or re-engage their businesses or personal responsibilities that have succumbed to anything from COVID.
Okay. Another question, how would you support open space and agricultural land?
Well, you know, it's an interesting topic because it depends upon who owns it, who's willing to sell it, and is that a fair price? And does it actually aid the community and stay within the guidelines of what the community wants to see from its open space and how it gets fun as a result of its acquisition? So it really does come down to what potential space is there, where is it co-located, does it enhance the school because of its location? Does it enhance recreational support of activities at the school? Because the school system within South Whitehall is an integral part of the community,
And anything that can be done to enhance it, to make it more attractive, that has a viral effect for everyone in the community, should also be considered. And is it something that can be acquired in block allocations so that the monies are not all invested at once? And how successful is that work done?
So clearly, it has to be participation with the landowners, at whatever price they give the loan.
And is it fair?
Thank you.
You don't.
All right. Welcome. So, Cindy, what do you understand as being the role or the responsibility of a commission?
I think that it's turning your experiences and understanding the needs of the township and help charter and maintain the direction of the community that has been defined either by constituents' needs, charters that are in place, and legal obligations that maintain the quorum that is respectable in the community, and that also meets with state and federal guidelines. I think that to come in with your own quote-unquote agenda to serve as a commissioner might be misguided. I think that you're an aggregator of people's needs and the responsibilities of the community, and you serve in that manner.
Thank you. So, here's I think more of a fun question. That was fun. This is even more fun. So, what do you see as one of the most wonderful flashing unique qualities of South Whitehall Township? If you had to pick one, what would it be? And why?
I'm going to answer in a roundabout manner. When we moved here 15 years ago, we moved from Westchester County, New York, and a rather suburban but rural environment, where if you needed to make a commitment to go out, you went out and did everything you needed to do at once. You didn't make short stops, come home and drop something off with that day, because everything was really far away. When we knew for almost 18 months that we were moving down here as part of a relocation with Olympus Corporation, we had time to look at all the various areas in and around Center Valley, whether it's Salton, whether it's Penn, Punji area, and South Whitehall. And the wonderful thing that we kept coming back was how friendly people were, the proximity to everything, how everything kind of resonated off of each other, and how comfortable we felt, both from deploying our children in schools, the municipal services that were available, the shopping, as well as proximity to where I needed to work. So there was not one thing that attracted us, and I think is wonderful about the township. I think the township represents what most people would really want in the community, and that's why we chose it.
So is there one feature, not just its stuff, is there one feature, whatever, is there one thing that sticks out of your mind that goes to a lot or love or?
We love our neighborhood, and we love everything that supports it.
Good. Yeah. Mr. Paul? Hello, Andy. Thank you for submitting your letter of interest and your resume. I just want to make a comment. I was pleasantly, well, I should say I was surprised when you used the word stability as the greatest need we have. Because my thought initially went to this civil discourse or agreement. So I looked it up and I looked up the ethics of stability, and it brought me to a definition of respecting others, avoiding harm, and building trust. And as I read through your letter of interest, I found that to be a unique and interesting way to look at the township and the needs that we have. So I want to thank you for helping me to look at things a little bit that way. Very, very interesting. I want to start by asking you your resume, starting business background, the very varied position that you have, but very interesting. And I wanted to ask you if you could look at all of those in a whole. Is there one or two things that you could point to in your career as highlights that would set you apart from town and road commission, or what would have maybe prepared you to serve in this way?
Sure. I think that when you, and you've obviously heard me speak today, very comfortable in addressing groups and sitting in front of people and openly and transparently responding to their questions. And because I listen, and because I am creative, and these are attributes that I've always used at work, I want to help and communicate and be that legal person to help bring people closer to the community, have better feel for their representatives within the community, and know that those people are there to advocate for them. Advocate when they can, assure them of what is transpiring, explain to them why their personal needs might not necessarily be paramount to take care of the situation, but to take all of my business efforts, which could be taking the world's largest retailer and convincing them to do business with a $30 million startup company versus purchasing product from a $1 billion corporation that, while they maintain their offices here in the United States, are based off seasonal, really trying to sell product. So my communication skills, my ability to listen, my ability to take someone's needs, superimpose it over the governance that warrants, and then be able to make the whole thing come together, have everybody walk away feeling positive, is really what I would aspire to support as being a commissioner during this interim period of time.
Thank you for that. And to piggyback on that, the position that we're filling is just going to be 7 months, so it's a little bit brief. But knowing that, is there anything in your mind you're hoping that you might contribute to or achieve in that period?
For me, Diane, what I would like to do during this period of time is to help the community and the other members of the board in the township get through some of these debatable issues that have been going back and forth for way too long. Whether that's a positive opinion on open space, whether that's positive or negative experience, but hopefully positive in terms of development that's already taking place or on the table. Explaining in such a way in a united front what transpired with the investment, why the audits haven't been done, and a reasonable expectation as to when that can be something that everyone can see and understand and we move forward. So that's what I'd like to see and like to participate during this period of time. And then leave the opportunity, should something not go well, or if I run for the open office when it becomes available, that at least I've made a contribution to the township and I've just really good at it. And the township benefits from that short period of time.
Thank you. Renee, you have 30 seconds. Okay, I'll let that.
I part on that side of the road. But I wasn't questioning for that.
I'm going to ask some similar questions, but I'll be careful of explaining how it's not the exact same question. So, yes, you have a very long, impressive resume. I'd like to think in terms of like what you produce in your roles, you know, what your deliverables are, and then the commissioners have deliverables to the township. It kind of relate. I produce this in my career, and therefore that's how this applies to what I aim to produce as a commissioner.
So some people have invested in me with a budget of X number of dollars to leverage and return for that investment profit. Every endeavor that I've been involved with has been, let's take this investment and transfer it into a larger profit opportunity. And so whether that's developing the world's first wristwatch pager, to developing the first digital SLR that didn't have a mirror built into it to make it smaller, to devising some of the more innovative Bluetooth speaker technologies in the audio world. That's what I've done. And we start from scratch with a plan, with a product idea, with supply chain people, and an end user in mind. How does that translate to the township, which is your secondary question, I believe? Yeah. We have a responsibility to ensure that the assets that this township is made up of, which is diverse and unique and highly attractive. It's the DNA of this community that the township and the board of commissioners is responsible. If you tug too hard on one thing, while it may be something that looks from the surface important, it may have an adverse effect somewhere else. There has to be a balanced approach to it, and be mindful of someone's investment in you and in the township, and uphold that, and make sure that their period of time here has been positive, and that there wasn't a negative experience as a result of making a commitment to live here, to pay taxes, to send their children to school, to shop at all the merchants that make up this community, and support it the way that is expected.
Okay, thank you. So something very similar. Your concept of civility also struck me as positive. So what I gather from that, I'm going to ask it this way. Civility is a means to an end. If that's the way it came across to me, could you give us like one or two examples of if we act with civility or have that as our concept, what will our end result be?
Please don't misinterpret this. And with all due respect, I don't mean that civility is a means to an end.
Okay.
I think civility is a way that we have to lead ourselves. Okay. And that we have to take into account everything that comes in front of us. And it's just a way that we carry ourselves, the way that we want to be perceived, the way that people want to be treated. Because people will come in front of the township for many reasons. Some highly personal, some to take advantage of an acquisition that they have and they want to see it prosper and grow, or perhaps just transition and move on. And they've earned the respect of the township and be treated fairly. And to be treated, though, within the laws that govern the township. But if there's not mutual respect for the individual that comes in front of the township or the business that comes in front of the township, looking for support or guidance, then this is not a value add. And the township, as board of commissioners and planning commissions, are value adds to the community. It's why people came here to live. And if that civility is interrupted or not taken into account, then I think that you have perhaps some examples already of what it's like to not have that as a constant within the way that we manage the responsibility of the country.
Okay, that was a great clarification. Thank you.
Commissioner Sutton.
So, just to follow up on this, Andy, the civility, you feel like the township right now lacks the civility and needs improvement?
I think perception of the lack of it is what troubles people. When you read online commentary, when you participate virtually in board discussions, you sense that there is a lack of trust. You sense that people are not comfortable with even discussing certain things depending on the environment. And so whether there is civility here every day, every minute, from everyone, the perception is that it needs improvement. The perception is that in some instances it doesn't exist at all. and as representatives of the community, because we are either asked to serve or elected to serve. You want your constituents to believe that not only do you have their best interests and the best interests of the township at the, but that you're treating the issues and actions with civility and respect.
So, so what you're saying is mainly that because of the perception is from people that are online, articles that they write, and I can understand that, and I guess often those, or the civility might be because of different of opinions. Would that be included in that? Is that sometimes it's passion that we, for different opinions that is passionately spoken. I guess that also might be in that category of civility. That be part of it. Or
here's the thing that we don't know, that none of us know, and that is, to date, what has been written in the paper, what has been commented on from a viral perspective, social media. We don't know how many people that has put in one camp versus the other, who are active in their commentary and their participation. What we don't know is how many people have stepped away and turned a deaf ear to all of us, who might have really interesting opportunities to contribute to the community, but have been turned off by the friction that exists or the lack of understanding as to why processes take place the way that they do. So just like you would in your church or your synagogue or your club, you want it to be a welcoming environment. And that should be paramount. And you want people to participate. You want people to be proud of this township. And so whether it's perception or reality, and whether you have participants on the yay or the nay side, I want this to be as inclusive a community as possible. And it starts with civility. It's really something that is, you carry. It's interesting that when I've done some research and I've gone on to different townships' websites, there are mission statements on various municipalities' websites. But you know where they are? They're on the police department's page of the website. They're not on the township. I don't know, but I did not see within the South Whitehall newly designed website a mission statement. There's no clear commitment and statement to the community explaining what South Whitehall Township's mission statement is and why they're here. And I think that that's also part of civility and communication and how do you best convey it. And again, it comes back to we want to be that open door. We want everyone to participate because we live the value of the community.
Just the sentences. So what would you like to see in a mission statement?
I'm not prepared to offer that right now. I think that it's a lot of the elements individually, but I would spend the time to wordsmith it, but I think it's important enough comment and state that it shouldn't be done on,
All right, thank you.
So, I'll piggyback off Mr. Stetton's comments. The township does have a mission statement. They do. Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. I think we should make sure that that gets right on the front page of our new website. That's a great addition and a great idea. Because it's a very wonderful mission statement. Very sincere, very true to self-light. So, thank you for that. One of the things that I would be interested to know is what type of previous community involvement or service or experiences have you had with the township?
With this township, none. As you probably are aware of, On a couple of occasions, I've submitted my name and high level of interest on a couple of the planning committees. I've had tertiary interviews for both the planning board and for the alternatives on the zoning, and they did not come through. And you also know that I also applied for the current opening on the planning commission, both through my name. I've been active in the community as part of the leadership group that brought Olympus to the Leap Out. I've also served on the board of trustees of the Jewish Community Center now.
Very good, thank you. Piggybacking, I appreciate your statement about kind of explaining to others why they're here, and others, that's a really great concept that we can certainly, the board benefit from, bring that on our website and have that the action statement, so it's a good starting point. And I just would ask you, Nick, I thank you for being willing to apply once you're on our board. As a citizen in our community, is there anything that you can suggest if you were to be given this appointment to help include our community more? How do we involve our residents? Are there some practical things that you might suggest to us to do that?
As I've said to you, part of the condition that we all find ourselves in is the lack of the ability to do what we're doing here tonight, which is community. We've gotten very comfortable with Zoom or Teams. And we've been probably abusive, and it can be both positively and negatively, in offering comments, because there's no reciprocity to it, because you're not then exposed to the follow-up. And I think that what I would be very much in favor of doing is hosting opportunities that allow the community to come in and talk ad hoc to the township. Now, whether that's, as I mentioned before, me as a window person that would be available, 7 days a week, 24 hours on email, and once or twice a week just to meet for coffee somewhere, understanding it. I think that people come to the township for suggestions, support, for approval. It'd be nice if the township went out to the community, and whether it was meeting for coffee at Wegmans, whether it was, on a Sunday, somewhere at a house of worship, whatever, that after services or whenever you're done what you're doing, this person is here, and they're here only to collect your ideas, your thoughts, and answer any questions that you would like. And I'd like to see that outreach take place.
Okay. Switch gears a little bit. We have a statutory requirement to submit audits every year. We have 10 years outstanding. Work is being done to catch up and submit the latest audits. What's your view of this situation, and what would you do to help get the audits done and prevent this from occurring in the future, even in the short term?
So there must be a reason why it hasn't been done. And I think that we have to just as a group sit down with the people who are responsible for presenting the P&L of the township, understanding what the components of the audit is, and complete it. If we need to bring outside people in to support the speedy resolve of this, then we do so. But to be out of compliance, regardless of the reason, there could be plausible reasons for all of them, should be resolved. Now, if there are penalties, or perhaps funding that would be withheld from the township as a result of non-compliance to those audits, then that's a very serious problem, and one that's not advocated for the community and its members. So my resolve would be whatever is necessary and as speedy a time frame as possible to get the audits completed. If they come back with even more concern and even greater issues, then those have to be resolved. But I think, and what was so interesting and disappointing as I watched the last committee meeting about when the audit came up was there should be more time where you guys and the board in general are aware of what's behind it and what's going on so that that transparency can be maintained when it's presented to them.
Okay, thank you. When did you say you moved here?
15 years ago.
Okay, so long enough to see some changes. So in 2014, we made a zoning change. We put in overlay districts. It's for developments for 2,000 dwellings, half are built, 2 are in later planning stages. What do you see as future development? Would you put these overlay districts, which is like the means to the end of large developments like we've seen, or would you say that's not such a great idea and maybe we need to go back to more traditional zoning? You know, reduce development to a more moderate level. What's your view on development?
Development, the benchmark development in a one-year period of time is not necessarily helpful. I think to your point, and asking you how long I lived here, development and its positive and negative need to be evaluated after a period anywhere from 5 to 10 years, because that's when things are traditionally finished, active, and you're understanding the contribution both negatively and positively. I think that you have to be mindful that people made investments in property and environments against today's world. And you have to be mindful that any advancement that could possibly place the township in harm's way as a result of modifying overlays or walking away from them, that has to be weighed both from a positive and a negative perspective. And again, as I mentioned to you before, it's all about the DNA. But if overdevelopment takes place and this community stops being as attractive as it is today, and all of a sudden people stop investing or house values plummet because of overdevelopment and people no longer can sell their homes or derive taxes to pay for schools and to keep this ecosystem that we love moving in a positive direction, then you have to take that into account when you're talking about development and overlays. But I think that it all comes back to the commission is responsible to move forward against the backdrop of the community. So right now you're surveying what people want to see and how people want to live. And until that survey comes back and you really have a pulse of what the community is saying, it's irresponsible of me to say what I would like to see in an overlay, because I want people to tell us what would be the greatest thing to come from that. So, thank you.
Well, Andy, thank you so much for being with us tonight. This was fantastic. So we're going to leave the last couple minutes for you to ask any questions of us before we close our meeting. We're all yours.
You're all. So individually, you can answer this, but have the commitments that you've individually made to the township, whether from committees or as commissioners, been satisfying? And if you had to do it all over again, would you?
That's right. I've been on the longest and I've been involved for a very long time. It wouldn't change a thing, and it's been extremely satisfying. I've seen the township grow over the past 12 years as a commissioner in such a positive direction, and I think it's fantastic.
Awesome.
It's a great place to live, work, and play, and to next for me. Thank you.
I'll pretty much echo the same as what Commissioner Morgan has said, except I haven't been here for 12 years on the board, only one. But I've lived here for a little bit over 35 years. I love the area. people. I wouldn't replace it for anyone else. I'm very, very satisfied that, I'm happy that I am able to participate in the community and contribute whatever I can.
Thank you for your question. I would absolutely do it again. 15 months in, my background is in dental field, I spent my life caring for people for their health, and I never realized that the transition would be a little bit similar to people that I meet that have needs to reach out to me that I can help in different ways. It's really very fulfilling. It's wonderful to be able to contribute. I see it completely as a volunteer position. To be able to give back to the community has been one of the most rewarding things that I've done. I would absolutely.
So I worked at a large corporation as a project manager, years as a product manager. So I get to apply those experience and skill sets here. So that's rewarding. I chose to do this because I wanted to represent the people effectively and a citizen advocate. And this gives me an opportunity to be a part of the government in order to do so. And I get very positive feedback from people about what I've done and what I'm still looking to accomplish. So yes, it's rewarding. I'm happy to be here.
Well, for me, your contribution to the people, and I thank you all, because it is a great meeting. And I'm very proud to be here, and I'm proud to present myself as a viable candidate for this opening. And all I would ask is that when we think about tennis courts, that we look at our population and perhaps make some adaptations to the tennis courts and make them so that they can be viable for not only tennis, but for pickleball, which seems to be extremely popular now and only requires a little bit of dancing.
We will definitely have that. Absolutely.
I don't have anything else to add.
Well, it was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure